Hello guys and welcome back to the Zubi show, and on today's edition of the show I'm going to be talking about something very important. So guys, do you think a woman's body count matters? Do you think it's necessary to ask? Do you think it's necessary to know? Well, I'll be giving you guys three reasons why I feel it matters a whole lot. Number one, a woman with a high body count has very likely lost her innocence and femininity. Now, this is what defines a woman: being able to act like one, being able to be feminine, always in a feminine zone. And a woman with a high body count has lost that because she's no longer able to submit to a man because she feels she has had a taste of that forbidden fruit and probably had a lot of it, so she knows men well enough. Two, this woman is stubborn, obviously. Three, she doesn't respect you, and she's no longer shy enough, because shyness is one very good trait you find in a woman who's still innocent. If the woman you're trying to walk down the aisle with is no longer shy, she looks at you boldly, you introduce her to your friends and she's looking at them in the eye, she's staring at them in the eyes, she doesn't act shy at all when she interacts with any of them. You have to see that as a red flag, because that's what defines a woman. And when she loses that, then she has lost something very dear, something very natural to her. So that's number one. That innocence is gone. That femininity is gone. She no longer wants to submit. She no longer wants to respect you enough. That's what comes with a woman who has known men too much, or known a very high number of men. Number two is her inability to pair bond with one man. A woman who has had a lot of sexual encounter with 1, 2, 3, 10, 15, 20 men no longer finds no longer no longer finds the ability to pair bond with one man anymore, because she has had a lot of encounters and it's hard to erase all of that from her mind. It's hard to erase it. It's hard to erase it. Good enough, if you're not good enough, she begins to compare you in her mind to one of the so many guys she's had sex with, and it's not something you want. It's not something you want. She no longer she's no longer able to fall in love deeply as much as you want. A lot of women who are mature enough, you tell them a lot of nice sweet things and you see them, they nod their head in a very weird way. They are trying to give you the impression that you are saying what they've heard over and over and over again, right? It no longer works on them. You write sweet things to them. It no longer works because they've had it so many times. So what makes you feel like you trying to be romantic with this one woman will make her fall deeply for you and also pair bond with you both sexually and romantically and otherwise. That's a very, very, very big problem. A lot of men have been there. A lot of men have broken her emotionally. A lot of men have done so many heartbreaking stuff to her. So she has now grown a thick skin, and now it's her turn to transfer that aggression, right, on you. She's going to transfer all of that on you, and you don't want to be the guy that would take all of that emotional baggage. You don't want to be that guy. Then the third one is the ability of her cheating on you is higher. When a woman has had a lot of men she slept with, obviously that's one very simple thing. You don't need a soothsayer to tell you this. She's no longer able to be very faithful. The chances of her cheating on you is higher because she has had a lot of nice sexual encounters. She has had a lot of guys that she truly loved, but they treated her like she didn't matter. She always have memory of them and she always want to go back. What happens when she finds herself in a compromising situation with one of them, or one of her exes that treated her badly, that she wanted so dearly, starts trying to make a comeback and maybe comes into the city where she stays? All of that, problem, all of that trouble, you don't want that for yourself. So, but with that said, what kind of woman do you end up marrying? Is it necessary to end up marrying a virgin or a woman with a low body count? In my opinion, Well, it's always much better to end up with a woman who's pristine, right? Who's pristine is the best, is the natural order of things. But I'm not going to sit down here and act like we are still in that society anymore. We're no longer in that society. Sex now is now very, very common. It's now being sold just like cookies. You can get it with the snap of a finger. You're on social media every day, and 1, 2, 3 clicks, you have a woman knocking at your door, and in next 2, 3, 10 minutes, you're already done with her, on to the next woman. So social media has now globalized and compressed our world, so to say. So a lot of women now have so much access to high value men, high status men, and a lot of men also have access to baddies. Right? You just go on Instagram and you see a lot of them, just a simple DM. They go through your profile, they know who you are. So it has now, the line has now been blurred. There is no longer that traditional values we used to have back then, maybe in the 90s, early 2000s. So looking for a virgin is like a tall order. It's not something you easily get. But a woman with an incredibly low body count is a green flag, maybe one or two. Number one should be a mistake. Number two should be the one that just didn't work out, and you should be the third one. Why? This might actually vary, depending on the society you find yourself. Let's say for women in Brazil, it might be a bit higher because you know how the kind of place is. Maybe somewhere like Rio de Janeiro, uh, a woman in Miami now, you don't expect her to have two body counts, maybe 5, 10. She has more access to so many, so many men, so many high status men. So it might differ, but ideally two is just enough. If it's too much, then three. It's too much, then three. That way, you know that she has not been heartbroken enough, she has not been treated badly by too many men, and you can easily lead this woman. You can easily control her. You can easily teach her what you want her to know, and she's no longer going to be that very stubborn girl who carries a lot of emotional baggage anymore. So this is actually my own opinion. You might go ahead and do what works for you, right? So, but I feel these 3 points are actually very, 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 very crucial. You have to look at this point before you end up with a woman. So, with that said, I'm going to say goodbye now and see you guys on the next edition of the Zubi Show. Watch out for the next video. It's going to be a very, very, very interesting one. Bye for now.